Man, these family gatherings around Thanksgiving could go real sideways right now if you don't set up some boundaries before you get there.
Here's a hot tip. Don't hang out with family at Thanksgiving.
There you go.
We're doing it solo this year, just the three of us.
Is that right?
Yeah, because we've done so much traveling already, and we're going to go back home for Christmas. We're like, hey, if anybody wants to come to us for Thanksgiving, you're more than welcome to. Nobody wants to come see us, so we're going to do it by ourselves.
Good for you guys. Okay. For those of you that don't have that option, though, Jackson is here to help you out how to create some boundaries, right? Especially if you're in a new relationship or no.
This has to do with anything. It can be a new relationship. It can be your family's pestering you about having kids. When are you going to get married? What are you doing in your career? All of that kind of stuff. I think this is pretty all-encompassing.
Are you allowed to say, of course you are, way before to like moms. All right, you know what's off the table? When we're going to have kids.
Not in my family.
Not in mine either.
You can't say that.
Nope.
Okay.
No way.
I mean, you can say it. It's just not going to do much for you.
You know what you should do is the next time they ask that, be like, I've already got two. And just get
Huh? What?
Yeah, I've already got two.
I mean, I'm sure that there are some that are saying, okay, just want to let you know that this Thanksgiving, zero politics. None, nada, zero. And if you don't like that, then don't come.
Well, I wish I could say that in my family, but I think for myself, and I know a lot of Asian households out there, they tend to prod and poke and pry for as much as they can get out of you for all you're worth. And so, you know, as grateful as you should be to have family to hang out with over the holidays, sometimes it can be a little bit stressful going into it. Maybe you've had some big life changes, or maybe you haven't had enough life changes going into them. And so it's important to go in prepared for whatever's going to happen to you. See, in my family, it's usually very career related. If you're pursuing something in medicine or in law or in tech, you're good to go. You get the, how's it going? That's pretty much it. Then you have people like me who decided to, you know, take the path less traveled and am, you know, pursuing a career in radio right now, of all things. And you get a lot more of these kind of pestering, nagging questions like, are you okay? What's going on?
What are you doing with your life?
Yeah, this is it? Radio? This is it, huh?
And so I've come up with a list of 5 different ways of tips to get you through this sort of question gauntlet. And the thing that inspired me to do this is actually a cousin of mine reached out to me. And she actually had quit her job earlier this year, and she's currently unemployed. She had nothing planned and lined up for what to do afterwards, but she's trying to figure it out, and that's just the path that she decided to take. And she hit me up and was like, hey, I'm a little bit freaking out about Thanksgiving. Of all the times in my life, I've never not looked forward to going, and this year I'm not looking forward to going. So how have you handled it in the past? Because I've gone through this a lot.
Hey, your life has sucked a lot. How did you handle it?
And so I will caveat this list by saying this applies again for families that have well intentions for you. This doesn't really apply for maybe like toxic families or anything like that.
They're not going out of their way to be passive aggressive. They think they are trying to be helpful.
Exactly. So I'm speaking from what in my experience, right? And that leads me into my first tip is, first and foremost, understanding that while their methodologies of asking might leave room for improvement, they ultimately have your best intentions and are only looking out for you. I often have to remind myself a lot of this whenever a discussion might get particularly heated or emotion filled, is that ultimately they are looking out for your best.
But again, to reiterate, this is for those that have healthy families, not the ones that have like really dysfunctional ones where you are dealing with toxicity, narcissism, etc.
Yeah, and I also want to throw this in there too, while you do say that they are looking out for your best interests in their own opinions.
Yes.
It's their view of what your life should look like, which is so unfair.
That is a very important caveat as well, is that it is their view of their best intentions, which does not apply to everybody. The next one that I have is rip the Band-Aid off so you can actually go and enjoy yourself. Consider the fact that these conversations are going to be taking up a minimal percentage of your time when it comes to the grand scheme of hanging out with people. And the worst thing that you can do is avoid certain people and have that hanging over your head the entire time that you're around everyone, and knowing that eventually you're going to have to go and talk to certain people.
I think you should go to a t-shirt shop and make a shirt. And on it should say, to ensure I have a good Thanksgiving, don't ask me these questions. And then just have a list of each question. Like, don't ask me when I'm getting married. Don't ask me when I'm having kids. Don't ask me, am I still unemployed? Like, just have the list. And all you have to do is just walk around the house with the list on your shirt and you're good.
How about a family draft? You go in order. You got 6 people, 7 people. First person in the draft says, okay, in the first round, I pick no politics. then you go into the second person. In the second round, you choose my relationship.
I like actually the idea of just having to talk to one person and then they have to share that to everyone so you don't have to have the same conversation 10 different times. My next one is find your wingman. If you have a sibling or a cousin that you're super close with and that understands your situation, have a chat with them beforehand and come up with maybe some sort of signal to bail you out of any situation that might get tense or uncomfortable. The next one that I have is don't talk too much. Sometimes oversharing can be the thing that actually ends up getting you in trouble in the end, and it's easier to get defensive. So sometimes your emotions can take over, and sometimes it's better, left unsaid.
I excel there.
It seems to me like there's a common denominator here, and it's conversation. So why don't you just agree this year? No talking at Thanksgiving at all.
Ooh.
Nobody says anything. It's going to be a silent Thanksgiving.
No talking policy.
Just enjoy football.
Yeah.
I like that. And the last one that I have is ask them if they trust you. And when they inevitably, hopefully say yes, remind them that you also trust yourself too and that you're figuring things out in your own time. That one I've had to do a lot of different times. I let people know, hey, look, you have to trust me that I'm doing what's best for me right now. I know it might seem a little bit crazy and unorthodox, but you just need to trust that I'm going to find my own way.
Can I ask you a favor to do a follow-up for this?
Sure.
Can you put a bingo card together of what you think your family's going to ask you at Thanksgiving this year?
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be hard to get bingo on that one.
Perfect.
You better be ready for the answer, though. Like, hey, do you trust me? For them to say, no, Jackson, I really don't. And that's why I'm making the decision for you.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far yet, so hopefully they just continue to have trust.
The Bert Show.